Hey, I'm Nate. This is Gettin to Market. This is a podcast about building products, launching them, and figuring out how to stay useful along the way. Here with John. How are you doing, John?
Hey Nate, I'm good. I see you now. Like I can actually see you this time. That's what you look like. I
The
I feel taller than you. I gotta crouch down.
my Mac camera's not moving all around. That's
Uh,
fun.
oh,
I actually did like it inside baseball talk. I guess we're switching how we're recording these, but when we were using Zoom, my MacBook camera was like tracking all sorts of stuff all around, and I think I finally figured out how to fix that. And then you change up the platform we're using, so that's fun.
I don't want you to be comfortable. That's the real plan here. Yeah, I do. Is that feature on FaceTime or whatever it is just called seasick? Like just make your audience seasick as it's trying to follow you around and track you.
I thought it was just like an iPad thing because one of the iPads we have does it, but
Hmm.
I guess now it's just migrated to Mac
Hmm.
because now I guess Mac and iPad OSs are just merging, but
It's the same.
um, it's the same. I think the week this is launching, July 4th. John, you got any fourth plans?
4th of July. We just made them. I was gonna say no, but we just made them this morning. We're gonna go visit my
Oh,
in-laws, hang out. They have a nice place on a lake, so we'll go do just down the line America stuff. We're gonna go swim, make some hot dogs, and yeah, should be good. What are you doing?
nice. Like actually making the hot dogs, you're heating them up.
No, we're gonna that yeah. When I said make hot dogs, that was a kind way of saying press 1 minute on a microwave and eat whatever comes out of
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, very, very similar kind of line of activities for us. We're going up to, I mean, so we're based in North Carolina. I don't think that doxes us too much. So we're based in North Carolina. So we're going up to West Virginia, gonna do some primitive camping. Friend of ours bought some land out there. He's wanting to kind of feel it out because they haven't spent much time there. It's undeveloped. So we're just gonna pitch some tents, and there's a river nearby. So maybe we'll get to get in the water depending on how the current is because our kids aren't like the strongest swimmers in the world. But should be fun. Get a campfire going, eat
Perfect.
some s'mores and also maybe heat up some hot dogs. Be
Yep.
a good time.
Yep, fine dining. Yeah, my in-laws are very they eat very healthy
Are your
and
in-laws vegan?
on and off. Yeah. Yeah, my
Whoa,
mother-in-law
wow.
is I don't know if she's full vegan. She's at least vegetarian. Um
Yeah.
yeah, and then like, I don't think that they, if you were to go out to eat with them or go, if they were to be a guest at your house and you made something, they wouldn't be like they're not the type to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. We're, they're
Yeah,
not
yeah,
that."
yeah. Yeah. Well, if you should take them to Raleigh, John. Head to Fiction Kitchen. That's like a vegan place.
Oh, cool. That sounds
Probably had
sweet.
a maybe not so great experience. Anyways, today's
Wait,
topic.
do you hate my in-laws? You want me to take them to a place you don't like? You don't met them. You don't like them?
It used to be amazing. I mean, it's always good to like, let check the in-laws, make sure they know where they stand. No, but it used to be like an amazing place. They have like the best kind of vegan food. It's like a good gateway for folks that have never really had vegan food, but
Nice.
yeah, maybe had not such a great experience this last time. It was fine. Today's topic, AI in a product world. I think we're going to focus just on your side of the fence on product management.
Hmm.
Um, I think a couple questions here. My first would just be like, when did you start using AI on the product management side in what you do?
Well, now I'm distracted because we're talking about my in-laws, but I did first start using AI. I have a brother-in-law that is he's I think 22 years younger than me. He's a hot minute younger than me, and so that also means that he's on more of the kind of leading edge of stuff. And so I started playing around with it a little bit then. But honestly, if someone was to say, "Hey, when did you start using AI for real?" It's within the last year that I've kind of like, hey, this is something I need to do something about.
Yeah.
And not that I was reactive or not that I was pushing it off, but it was more like, oh, this could change a lot. And I got to either get in front of it and understand it or I'm going to get left behind. And so probably about a
Yeah.
year ago, I dove in and started playing around a lot.
One of the things that I have definitely countered on the marketing side, curious how PMs think about it, is the idea that there is like there is fear around how much of our roles AI will replace. Is that something you all think about on the PM side?
I have gotten there. I don't know if this is necessarily the intent of that. The hype cycle. I think who
Yeah.
did Gartner make the hype cycle? Whoever came up with that. I don't know what the intent was, but at one point I did go through a whole spot of like, if I don't understand this, someone who does understand this is going to come and take my job. And
Yeah.
not necessarily that the AI will replace my job, but the effective use of it in your day-to-day flow. It's hard to argue that it's just you can be that much more effective and fast and that sort of thing. And so it's like I got to really dive in and understand what this is. And honestly, from a product perspective, I'm not talking about I got to build really good products for our customers using AI capabilities and agentic workflows, but more just like A to B for me, task by task. I gotta make this make me faster, or I'm out the door.
Yeah.
And that's really the only place I've found much value so far.
Yeah.
Is that like making me faster?
I think one thing that is helpful for both of us is the fact that we're both at an org that not only encourages but kind of mandates the use of AI. Like we kind of have to find ways to make what we do faster. Like what would be the advice you would give somebody who's at a job where they're not paying for enterprise licenses for one of the, the big models? And then how would you kind of ethically and I guess legally, right? Because you can't just upload all your company stuff to
Right,
your
right.
to ChatGPT or whatever, make use of it if you were kind of in one of those places that wasn't as encouraging.
I would, and I've actually told people this, like, hey, ChatGPT is $20. It's worth the $20 just from an education standpoint. Just learn, go and do and see what stuff you can make. I don't know if I have a countercultural point to this. I think I make every information security officer nervous.
Nervous or pissed off? Are you just pissing them off?
Well, they might be frustrated. No, I mean, really, I'm trying to be very careful with our data and being pretty
Yeah,
particular about that. Not everyone's going to make that same care, or not everyone's going to do that, or not everyone understands. And
yeah,
so they have a real challenge, and a bit of it is just like people are going to be doing this stuff anyways. Where I have been using it, and let's just kind of assume these gates of protection and security are there, where you can't use this model, but you can use that model. And if your organization won't use it, is there still value in the tool in your day-to-day workflow? Like, absolutely.
yeah,
I've talked about how I'll just use dictation to chat. Like I wear AirPods, obviously, so I'll go for a walk and I'll just talk about stuff that's on my mind. The important part to this topic in that is it's all my own personal stuff. It's not necessarily the business financials, the strategy, the goal, the metrics, that sort of thing.
yeah.
But there are ways to make the tools work for you that are still worth that $20 a month.
I
Yeah.
do love the idea of your neighbors just like watching you walk by, being like, "Who talks like this to someone to another human being?"
And I'm a hands talker, and so I'll
Yeah.
just be like walking and talking, and they're like, "What is that guy up to?"
They're just worried for you. So, I guess my follow-up question to that would be, because this is all about the PM side. How are you all using it? Like, what are your kind of your best practice? How are you using it? Like, is it user stories? What are kind of the ways that you're finding value in it?
The basic table stakes stuff that I feel like everyone should get to, and really the other way to say that is if a PM's not using some sort of generative AI tool to write user stories for themselves or bugs or that sort of thing, then you're going to have a hard go. Is a little bit my feel on it. Just actually today, I had videos that I took of like screen recordings of product issues that I found. Early
Mm,
release software, beta stuff, saw some stuff, and I was like, I wonder if Claude can do this. I use Claude and ChatGPT, a couple other things. And so I said, hey, if I upload a video, can you write stories? And it said, yep. And so I uploaded one. That's pretty good. So then I uploaded six just from a user story creation. Within 15 minutes, everything's done. I've got the videos, I've got the
wow.
demonstration of the
Yeah,
problem, I've
yeah,
got the story submitted, that sort of thing. So I feel like that sort of table stakes, that's almost like what you might say, kind of writing the copy for some basic type of, kind of updated release notes. Like, hey, this is
sure.
relatively templated. We don't have to do a lot. It's almost akin to that.
Yeah, yeah.
But one of the next ones that I started playing with is I made bots of personas inside of different tools. So I'd say, hey, this is who you are. Pretend you're this. Now I want to ask questions of you and pitch an idea to you.
That's great. How does that replace having a conversation with a customer? Like, why not just have that same conversation with a customer now instead of doing it with AI?
I don't think this is the right thing to do long term to replace.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I'm on my back foot being a little defensive. It was interesting that it got me there. I think the right thing to do is then take a refined list of questions and turn around and ask some real people about it and see how close it is.
I've had several instances now using Claude where it has just straight up lied, and you
Yes.
have to call it out and it'll admit that like it pulled it out of nowhere. But especially for some of the marketing stuff we've been using for, kind of frightening. How it's like,
Hmm.
oh, you're right to question that. I did just make that up. Oops.
Claude and I have something in common that we speak very confidently about things we know nothing about, and then we just wait for someone to call us out on it.
Uh,
I mean,
uh,
what has it been for you? How are you using it? Are you incorporating it? I mean, like, what's the general tenor in the product marketing discipline around Gen AI? Speak for everybody, please.
Speak for everybody. Yes, as the spokesperson for all product marketing. No, one is I think anybody in product marketing knows there's like a fair amount of, and this is a term that gets used by like SREs and engineers and stuff, but toil. So it is just like rote stuff that we have to kind of do manually, and it eats up a bunch of time. So one of the things would just be like, hey, you create copy for something or create a new asset. You then need to like have that asset live in some sort of content management system. That content management system requires a description. You can use AI to populate that description, and there's nothing about that description that needs to be like SEO ready or anything like that. So it's
All
super
right.
great for that type of stuff. Or um, you need a social post now for that asset. I think there's no reason really not to leverage. You just need a post that gets out there, right? And it is good enough. So I think it's great at those types of things. And with just a little refinement, you get pretty workable social copy. And then another area is just around competitive intelligence. Like it's just really good at researching across a whole bunch of data sources and pulling together a bunch of different information and kind of collating it for you to comb through. That type of stuff like manually takes so long. But I wanted to get back to you and your folks real quick, which is just kind of to think through, if you were having someone on your team that's kind of struggling to adopt an AI tool, what do you do to kind of like help them? What do you set them out to do?
It's hard to know what it's capable of without just like diving in and going. And so you could say, hey, do more AI, but giving really concrete examples of like, hey, have you thought about using AI to do this part? Have you thought about using AI to do that part? Have you thought about using AI for project planning for a big thing you got coming out and seeing what it comes up with? Like identifying very specific, I would say insignificant, but it's really just like if it hallucinates and if that's what the person's worried about, it's not that big of a deal. Just like find areas that they can start experimenting and help them, plug it into your workflow in this way, and almost being really specific or explicit rather about that, I found helpful. Um, and so if you could just
Yeah.
give them very explicit things, then they're off to the races and they'll come back to you and be like, oh, I actually took that project management idea, I did this, and then
Yeah.
like had it automatically assign
Yeah.
tasks to different people and send them emails like, oh, dang, you automated project management. Now I feel like project managers are going to come after me, but you get the idea. Like they'll come up with something different that I never would have thought of, and be really interesting and helpful.
Yeah. On that same line, what is the, because I think we just maybe the last episode maybe was about kind of interview stuff. What is the
Yeah.
baseline level of skills using AI that a PM on your team would need to have for you to consider them? Is that a requirement now?
Last episode, you had said something to the effect of, in your resume, you say you're data driven, and then I give
Yeah.
you a layup question and you don't come back with how you use the data. I feel like it's almost the same type of idea where, hey, how do you use AI today, Gen AI today? What stuff are you doing? And if they don't talk about story creation, if they don't talk about, writing requirements documents for engineering teams, those sorts of things, and kind of
Yeah.
how they've applied it, then uh, it it starts to smell a little bit like you're making stuff up.
Yeah.
Like that you're not really using the tool, you're just kind of following along the hype train. All right, well, let's bring it to the home run. What have you learned this week? We've had ourselves a week. What have you learned this last week?
This was not like a new lesson learned. It was just kind of it was a good reinforcing thing, which is I took a class I won't get into any detail about just a couple days ago. And one of the things that I think is, first of all, I love kind of being a student and learning new things, but I think one of the things that's great about some instructors is their attitude when they're kind of doing teaching or training is like, "Hey, I'm just teaching this thing that works for me, right? I
Mhm.
want you to try it while we're here together, but you can love it or leave it when you leave this course." And I think that's such a critical thing to bring to new jobs or new roles is like, you may have a thing that worked for you at another org, but like when you're first starting someplace new, just do it their way for a little while and you might find that it doesn't work for you, but um, at least you've given it an honest go, and you might learn that you actually do prefer this way over your other one, right? Like your past experience doesn't have to necessarily dictate what's going to work for this org, and you're not always brought in on some sort of change mandate. So it is just like when you're learning a new thing and someone's trying to teach you a new thing, it just being like open enough to kind of like take it in, try it. Maybe it does work for you, maybe it doesn't. You go back to your old way, but like having at least that minimum like openness to try it, I think is it's a really great thing to have, and I think it's one of the things that makes learning fun in those types of settings. How about you, John? What was your lesson learned?
No, that made me think of what we talked about before of like ask questions and be like, hey, what do you
Oh
think
yeah,
about this? What do you
yeah.
think about that? Like, how does this connect up? So just that idea of challenging your own ways of doing it, and maybe, just maybe, someone out there is better at it than you. That's an
Oh,
idea.
that's good. Maybe the lesson there is like you interrogate your own way before you interrogate their way is like maybe the best way to approach it.
The lesson that I learned this week is how to go all in. Really, what that means is, so this week my one of my children had a goldfish
Mm.
that she had been taken care of, and the goldfish died. And so it was
Oh
a
no.
very sad Friday.
Yeah.
Kind of thinking about that, and she is very tender as a person. She's very tender and very caring. So
Yeah.
the story of this goldfish is, it was in the classroom, a previous classroom from a teacher she had, a really great teacher in town, at our school here. And, goldfish is in the classroom. School year ended. This is a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. I can't even remember. And the teacher's like, well, I don't want this goldfish. And like, whatever. And so my daughter couldn't handle that idea. Like, we're just going to get rid of this thing? No, bring it here. So we got the
Yeah.
goldfish, and my daughter went all in and learned everything about how to take care of it, what to do, how to do it. And she did a great job, just like cleaning the tank and all kinds of stuff. We'd sometimes a little annoying. She'd be like, I gotta go to PetSmart. Like, it's 8:30 at night. Like, I gotta test the water. Like, oh my goodness, it's a free goldfish. Can we settle down? But really, she poured a lot into this thing, and did a lot of work and learned a lot for herself about different stuff.
Yeah.
In her grief, she said something to the effect of, they live on average for 13 years, and I couldn't keep it alive for 2.
Whoa.
And I was like,
Whoa.
that was my response, like, live on average for 13 years. And I was like, wait, you know that? So she just like went all in and learned all this other stuff and did a bunch. And I was really
Yeah.
proud of her for that. And then the grief was, uh,
Yeah.
in line with the amount of work. So it was
Yeah.
good. We've been thinking more about that. Just go all in, one or the
Mhm.
other, no matter the outcome, was really a helpful lesson to learn, even when it's sad on the outcome. Tough stuff, but
This does explain the RIP Bubbles tattoo you have on your forehead, so I'm glad that clears that
just,
up.
well, now we got the video. It's on the neck. I'm getting it on the neck.
Oh boy. No animals were harmed in the making of this episode. The ASPCA was not on the recording, but we promise no animals were harmed.
I can't make that promise.
Oh boy. As always, great to talk with you. We're back next week with another episode. But until then, talk to you later.
Yeah, good to see
Bye.
you, man. Bye, everybody.